In this part, I will explain how you can apply motion capture data to your character. I grabbed this character from KLFigin's website. I found when I animate Berserk, this rigging is really good and easy to animate. Before, I haven't used the FKIK script from KLFigin's website. They have a script to switch FKIK, and also they have script for making human IK on rig very easily. Is if you click couple of times, like 2-3 click, you can have human IK setting on your rig. So if you see this character, there is already human IK setup. If you see the right side is human IK. This custom rig have human IK setup already, so I can retarget. If you haven't done anything human IK setup before, just search on YouTube. You will find many good tutorials about it. So yeah, let's start this part 2 tutorial. Before I start to animate, if I start new character, what I do first, I just tidy up the scene. The first thing, I just create floor, set one plane, then I'll add light so I can see some shadow. Then directional light, I just created directional light. Also, I just need to make a bit brighter all scenes, so I will add one ambient light. This is a bit too bright, so I will adjust the light setting, the light intensity. I will just make about 1.5. Yeah, this is pretty good. Then I will just hide the light. Okay, yeah, it's much better. And also, when I start the first parts of the animation, I don't want to see all these secondary props like hairs and clothes. This makes hard to see the silhouette of the character, so I separate using layer, then hire those unnecessary meshes. So I already created some layers. I will hide hair, and I don't need clothes. And cape. This is much simple and clean to see the silhouette. So we are ready to input motion capture data. I will download one mocap data from Lococo Motion library. It's a new plugin in Maya 2020.1. So if you go here, animation, motion library, you can open that motion library window. In here, I search with run, and there are many different type of running motion. Not this one. What I used was I used run with weapon 2. And this unit holding weapon looks like holding weapon on right hand, so it's perfect. So I already got this on my motion library. This, and also this is free motion clip, so you can just download it for free. I found this motion library really handy, especially if you want to try motion capture data editing. You can just try and some clips from this website. There are this store. There are so many different kind of motion clips. So anyway, if you import this motion clip, you will see in Maya Scene. If you imported in motion capture data run cycle, you will see this skeleton on your scene. You play, you can see the motion capture data is moving. After you importing mocap data, you have to make sure you have your frame rate, because the motion capture data frame rate is 120 frames per second, so it changes Maya Scene automatically. So I will change back to 30 frames per second. And now it plays 30 frames per second. And make sure if you can't see motion capture data in your scene, you should turn on joint here. Then the scale is much bigger compare my character, so I'll just scale down a little bit. It doesn't actually affect anything to when you're retargeting. I just I will scale to look better in Maya Scene. Aside. Before you retarget this motion capture data to your character, there's one thing you need to change. If you check the motion direction, I just turn on the motion trail. Let's see in top view. The mocap data is not running straight to forward. You can change this, you can fix this after you retargeting, but it's much complicated than fixing before you retarget. So it's better you change this before you retargeting this motion to your character. So how you fix this is simple. Just select this reference, then turn on your rotation. Title is straight. Most of the time, if you get a locomotion file like running or walk motion capture data, it's not straight. Most of the cases running diagonally. It's because of when they capture motion, they run diagonally in the motion capture room. it's because they want to use wide range of the space so they can capture as much they can. So yeah, you will see this when you see the mocap data, running mocap data, you will see many times it's not really straight. This seems okay. Let's write more. Yeah, now it seems quite straight. Front view. Yeah, there's a little bit offset, but this is fine. It's not bad. So we are ready to retarget this animation to this motion capture data to my character. If you already have human IK setting character, you will see here. So from here, you select your rigged character, and from source, you will choose your mocap data. Usually, you will see just one of these, but I downloaded mocap data a couple of times, so there's some more list. Must be first one, not the first one, third one. Yeah. This motion capture data actually very nice and clean. There's not much noise on motion. If you are happy with your retargeted motion, you can bake motion to your rig as linked. At the moment, it's linked with the mocap data, but it's not actually baked to your controller. So from here, you can bake to custom rig. It bakes all animation to your rig. So if you see here, as source is none now, but still it has moved. Now I can delete this mocap data from the scene. The next step is we have to select exact frame which I want to use for looping animation. I'll just make this a bit longer to see the motion clearly. Let's move this unit to center first. We can just use layer from here. X, Z, 0. It's running through this way. I'll merge this layer. If you are an input user, you can use this tools. This menu is much easy. Quite same with using layer, but this one is easier. So start if you change one the beginning, it applies to all frames. So it makes quicker to change position. Turn up now. Anyway, you can use layer or this option from Animbot. So now we have to cut off which we don't use. So I'll choose. Usually, when you choose starting frame of your running cycle, it's good. It's better you choose passing pose. Passing pose means when your one of your legs cross the others. We call it passing pose, something like around here. Why we choose this pose is looks smoother when it's blended from the stand pose. Usually in game, run cycle start from stand. If the poses has big differences, it doesn't look very nice. For example, if run motion start from here, and then if it's blended with a stand pose, it will try to widen your leg like this when it's blended, and so sliding. Both legs can be sliding linearly, which is very bad. But if the stand motion is blended with this pose, left leg looks like it will not move much, but it will look like just right leg starting move. So yeah, it's better to choose passing pose as a start pose of the looping motion. So we'll start with 64 frame. This is good. So 64 frame, and I will need to choose we need to choose a pose as close as this one. So 1, 2, and passing pose. I think this one is very close with a starting pose, which will make a very nice loop. So 80. You can check this pose in front view. So I'll change to 80 frame. Then check 80 frame. You can just use your shortcut to change the frame. Next frame, previous frame. If you swap the pose, you will see this is quite similar pose. So if you play it, looks like already good run cycle. It's not matching, so there's popping, but it's not too bad. We can polish very easily. Now I will remove all unnecessary keys on this character. I will just use this frame 64 to 80 frame. So let's select all the controller. I already have a selection set in Animbot, but you can make your own selection set using any tools, or you can just grab like this. Just remove these keys in here, or I can just delete till 64 these frames. Then I will move these keyframes to 0 frame. Set my play range to 16. Okay. Then again, we'll move my character starting at the 0. I'll use layer. Move to 0, x 0, and z axis 0. Or like I mentioned before, you can use any both tools to change the position easily. Or mod this. Okay. We have very clean run cycle data. We just need to polishing this up. Let's match the pose at the start and end. At this stage, we don't need to change the pose. We can change all the polishing stage after this part. If you make run cycle, which is matching starting and ends, and that when I finish that stage, I will say is first pass is done. I just tidied up this mocap data for using for making run cycle. So the last stage is matching the pose. You see this one? Yeah, still pose is a little bit offset at the beginning and end. Beginning and the pose is a little bit different. Using layer, I will match the pose. So select all this controller, the mesh selection, select all this controller, and I'm going to use Ready9 plugin. This is free plugin. You can download from Autodesk website or Ready9 website. It has a bunch of different tools for helping animators, which is very useful. And also they have pose manager, which is very handy when you say pose and paste pose. So I'm going to copy this first prime pose. Say pose. I'll call this one pose 1. I already have one, so this will just update the pose. Yeah, here that I just copied one pose, and I will apply this pose at the end of the frame 16. So let's make a layer after selecting all controller. Let's make a layer on top of it. The key at the beginning, the first frame. And if I don't key in first frame, when I just apply without keying first frame, applying pose in 60 frame, it will affect to beginning frame. So key first at the beginning is important, and applying keys at the end. Select this pose and paste pose, load pose. As you see, character just moved back because I copied from the first frame. I will fix this issue. Select this main controller and go to layer. Just turn up the layer and copy the Z value from here. Z value, and turn on this layer again and paste this value on translate see the base animation position. So okay, and let's check the pose. Front view, we can check the pose, select any controller and check the first frame and last frame. Last frame and first frame. When I move this first and last frame, pose is exactly the same. So this will make a perfect loop cycle. The leg is moving a bit crazy. We can fix this. It's because this when we apply this pose, this pose with the base and base layer with this angle was quite different, I think. So you can check. It's a bit different. So this applying this pose actually affected to all this frame. Let's fix this. Before we fix that, what I will do is select all and go to graph editor. I will change this as a linear curve rather than auto tangent, because if, as you see, this tangent add easy in easy out when change the pose, which we don't need, and it changes some like it adds some the moving speed or body movement speed. So I will just keep the linear. Yeah, linear, and let's fix this leg, right leg problem. It does this, select all this leg controller, 1, 2, 3, then I will keep the base animation till it goes to air. So around, let's say around 14, I will just keep the base animation around 14. So turn on the layer again, and if you click this button, it means in this keyframe it keeps the first frame base animation. So click key in here. So from 0 frame to 14 frame, it keeps same animation from the base layer. So as you see, it's already fixed that issue. It's just as the same as base layer, but from 14 to 16, this pose is changing. But it's okay, it's not too bad from 14 to 16. Then still got exactly the same pose at the beginning and at the end. Test at the beginning and end. You can use shortcut to check the frame. So we have nice loop animation. Let's play again. So let's see, front view. There's no popping, there's sliding. We will fix this in next stage, and some other part we can fix that. But in this part, we made nice looping animation. I will mod this. After mod this, we'll just make him a little bit move lower because it's over the ground. Speed is over the ground. I will match this left bit with the ground. With a layer, using layer, you can fix this very easily. Shift it, shift down. And here, nice. Now it looks better. Okay. In this stage, I kept all body part as FK because this will make easy to move around this unit. So if you move main controller, all body follows character, so it's much easier. But next stage, when I start to polishing this animation, I will start to change it to IK, which makes much easy to change the pose. Okay, and you still can use this animation as when you work on some realistic character with a little bit more polishing, but I will call this as still raw mocap data. We fixed something, but we didn't really change it from base animation. It's raw mocap motion, and we just matched beginning and at the end. Now we are ready to edit this animation. It depends on how you edit this animation can be changed a lot. If you work on cartoony character, you can make it look more cartoony style, frame changing speed or pose. Or if it's realistic character, you don't really need to change much. You just need to polishing little body part like angles or hand poses or head poses. That is really simple changes. So it is all depend on how you use this mocap data. This was part 2. In next chapter, I will explain how we edit this mocap data to make seamless loop and looking more interesting.